Peter Pinches Maura, you can hear me loud and clear. Before we talk about boxing, I have a couple of things I would want you to address, just kidogo. One is a ruling made yesterday by the High Court condemning two Kenya Sevens players to 15 years in jail for a gang rape. The other one also in rugby. Please let me know your thoughts, especially on our match against South Africa. It's just one match, and if we go through, we qualify for the Women World Cup. Good afternoon, Peter Pinches Maora, and what are your thoughts today?
Well, a very good afternoon, Florence, back in studio. Exemptional. It's a weekend where we'll be experiencing a lot of rugby action, and I think you've just thrown some few questions in terms of the women's rugby team, that's the Kenya Lioness, and of course even the court proceeding, rather the court case surrounding, or rather involving two exemption rugby players. I think first of all it's one of the situations that we don't want to see in terms of a sportsman being involved in. But again, we all know that courts are supposed to listen to the facts and decide, probably depending on how best the facts were presented. I know there's a lot of storylines surrounding the whole case, different people with different opinions, but at the end of the day, I think if justice was served for me, I think then it's something that we could just wait and see in terms of the appeal, how it's going to happen. In terms of the women's team, I think it's been an exceptional performance for me in South Africa. So far, being able to record 2 wins against Madagascar, that was guaranteed. I thought that maybe with the quality that the Kenyan teams have, then we have what it takes to be able to reign supreme against the likes of Madagascar. Against Uganda, a tight one, their neighbors in terms of even how we play in the Elgon Cups and how the scoreline was in the Elgon Cups 2019. I also thought that even the women's team are better and better place to even be able to reign supreme against South Africa. But again, remember, South Africa is one of the teams that is better placed in terms of not just even the shorter version, but even the longer version, the 15s. And we expect a fight, but I think the ladies have what it takes to be able to reign supreme. And they have different combination. I think for a very long period, we've been able to see, and even with the age grade rugby in terms of women, we've been able to see a lot of new rugby players being able to join on board and help the national team. So I'm 100% believe that the Kenya Lioness can be able to secure that Olympic qualification. I think it will be a turning point for women rugby in the country. Probably that will make us have more teams participate, more even university. Remember, university form more of a backbone of most of our sports. And if they can be able to take rugby, remember Kenyatta University, one of them, if they can be able to take up the game, then it means that the growth will be immense. So I'm hoping and praying that the girls can be able to click on, reduce on some of the knock-ons, and then be able to click well from the forwards to the number 9 to the halfbacks and even the backs. Then once we do that, we can be able to reign supreme as South African team at their own back. And I'm hoping by the end of the today, we'll all be rejoicing and be talking about how the national women's team is performing exemption. The bitter part probably, Florence, is that our women teams have been performing well, not just in rugby. Look at our volleyball team. Look at our basketball team in Senegal. They have been performing immensely well. But then, if you look at the attention that we give them, or rather even the administration, whether it's the Ministry of Sports, whether it's different stakeholders and different private institutions, the attention they give to the women sports in the country, it's wanting. I think they have been able to do a lot. They have been able to stand out with all the challenges. Then we need to do more and appreciate them. I think women sports in the country, we still have a long way to go, and stakeholders need to focus more on that. I don't know what you have to say about the women sports in the country.
Well, of course, we all complain, Peter Pinches Maura, that we are not treated equally with our male counterparts. And we also saw that happening with the basketball team. But hopefully, as you said, the ministry and the stakeholders in the sports industry would treat us equally. Other than the women, let me also talk about people living with disability or sportsmen who are abled differently. When they go out, they bring a gold, they put Kenyan flag out there. Them too, other than the women, also the people living with who are abled differently, I don't think they've really been treated the same way as the male, their male counterparts. Well, but hopefully, Peter Pinches Maura, these things are going to change. But now let's shift gear, Pinches, and tell me, what are you doing at Jericho? I understand some young men are punching each other on the ring. It's all about development of boxing in the country. What's happening where you are?
Well, away from the rugby and a lot of different sporting events that are supposed to happen today, at the Jericho Social Hall, remember, is an iconic place in terms of when you talk about matters boxing. This is a place that the likes of the legendary, the late Robert Wangila were able to harness their skill and top of the world. So what the Boxing Federation of Kenya is doing, they have a program where they want to nurture the young talents, the young kids who want to take up boxing. They want to be able to bring them along the ranks and make sure that at least with the likes, the legends, the boxers that we have, when times come that they are going to hang the gloves, then we'll be having a young generation of boxers who can be able to take up the notch and be able to represent the country. The event's supposed to kick off. We expect the finals to be staged today. Everything is staged. You can see the ringside. Everything is ready. The gloves are ready, dusted and ready for it. We'll be seeing a lot of action from some of these youngsters, and we'll be able to see whether the future of boxing in the country is in the right hands. It's one of the initiative under it's one of the program under the new initiative Ndoni Mtaani with the new formed Boxing Federation of Kenya. So we expect to see a lot of action. We'll also be feeding you with some of the latest results from the Jericho Social Hall, and of course even the lineup on some of these boxers who are supposed to be taking up the stage. We'll also be talking to the technical director, Albert Matito, who will be in better position in terms of telling us how they have been able to prepare and why this particular initiative at this particular time, and what they want to achieve at the end of the day, and maybe some of the standout names that maybe people can't be able to look out. And of course, again, remember the biggest challenge sometimes is the transition, Florence. These young kids are lucky that they'll be showcasing their skills early. But then after now, you remember they also have to do with their schoolwork, they have to do with a lot of other things they have to handle, because again, probably some of them come from very humble backgrounds. It's a challenge to be able to come up, or rather to be able to have even the skills, to have even the ring, to be able to train, to do your training in terms of boxing. So what is the Boxing Federation doing to make sure that it's not just an event at the Jericho Social Hall, it's something that we can be able to say in the next 5 years that, yeah, last in 2019, we were able to have a junior boxing competition, and out of it, A and B and C is the product of that. I think we have been able to see some of these things happen in terms of European sports, and maybe it's one of the initiatives that the Boxing Federation of Kenya will be working on, to be able to see that they can be able to nurture these young talents, and at least not just nurture them, that they can be able to have a future in boxing. We want to see a situation where boxers can be able to live, they can be able to take care of everything because of what they do inside the ring. Well, we'll be able to feed you that conversation, of course, even for the boxing lovers and anyone who is interested to know anything new, any question to the Boxing Federation of Kenya. I think we have the delegates, we have not the delegates, we have the officials, we have the people who are better placed to answer some of these questions. Just throw them through our social media platforms, and even I know the ones that are going to come through the studio line, you are going to feed them to us, and we can be able to talk to the officials who I think are better placed to tell us where boxing is headed to. Remember, the hit squad, the national team, will be trying to reign supreme, or to continue their dominance in the All-Africa Games, supposed to kick off on Monday. And we are hoping that this time, I had a chance to talk to the team manager. He thinks that we can be able to record 6 medals, but I think we can be able to get even more than that. We have the quality, we have the likes of Nick Cole. I think they're exemptional. They have the experience, the All-Africa Games. I think we can be able to reign supreme, and hopefully boxing can be able to go back to its glory days, the glory days that used to be actually another, say from athletic, used to be another discipline that used to bring a lot of medals for the country. But for now, it's back to you in studio, Florence.
Peter Pinches, Peter Mwaura, before I let Peter Pinches Mwaura go, I just wanted to know for how long, when did the event kick off, how many children and from which clubs are there, they're participating, and when is it culminating? Peter Pinches Mwaura, if you're in a position to tell us more, how many kids are there and from which clubs, and when is the competition coming to a close?
Interesting, for the first time, Florence, we are having boxing being represented from more than 16 counties. If you just a quick check in terms of even the list that I'm having, you can see kids from Embu, Kilifi, Mombasa. We have kids from Meru who have been able to take up to participate in this competition. And it's go ahead to say that we have the talent. It's only that we don't have the system, or that we don't have this competition to be able to bring on both these talents and maybe bring them in into the limelight. They can't be able even to be noticed and probably included in some of the national team. I think boxing, again, Florence, being even one of the federation, or rather one of the sports organizations in the country that has been able to conform, or rather to be able to follow the rules in terms of the Sports Act 2013, where you are required to be able to work with the countries and have even organization or even different, actually now they are saying that the federation, association are for the counties and the federation is the big body. Being able to confine with or being able to work with the rules, then it means that they have been able to set up structures in the counties, and that's why we are seeing kids from as far from Kilifi, Mombasa, Meru, Embu, being able to participate in this competition. Again, it's keen also to note that maybe this will help us have a change in terms of even how some of our boxers are represented. Remember, the service have been able to chunk, or rather been able to provide the bigger number in terms of the boxers. But now it's saying maybe we can't be able to see clubs from Kilifi, Mombasa, and other different parts of the country being able to chunk boxers, or being able to feed the national team boxers. Once I don't have the correct number in terms of the participants, or rather the young kids who have been able to be in this competition, but I understand that we'll be having more than 16 final stage today. Then it goes a long way to tell you that we have had a very good number of boxers. The competition kicked off early this week from Monday, so we have been having a lot of actions in Jericho Social Hall. Not just actions, but they are also being taught a lot of life skill lessons that can be able to help them. The first match actually is supposed to take off, I think Victor Maundu from Embu is supposed to take off Gerard Mwangi from Ranga. That is 29 to 29 kg. They're young kids and they have to be qualified in terms of their weights. And I'm telling you, it's going to be exemptional. Good to see how some of these young kids can be able to combine the punches and record wins. Once I get the number, Florence, and any other detail, I'll be able to feed you. Back to you in studio, Florence.
All right, amazing insights there from Peter Pinches Mara, who is coming live to us from Jericho Social Hall. Quite amazing. The first match there almost kicking off. And Peter Pinches Mara, if you follow us later on, even on our subsequent bulletins, you'll get to know who won in which categories. But right here and right